Looking at the latest upheaval of Royal Mail, for the majority of us, there's not really much difference between Royal Mail and Post Office Limited. Royal Mail, this institution navigating financial turbulence compounded by Rachel Reeves' recent budget, apparently. The headline here is a £120 million annual hit from raised employer national insurance contributions. A tax raid that we're told is disproportionately impacting Royal Mail given its 130,000 strong workforce. The implications? Higher prices for customers, potential job cuts, and a renewed push for automation. Basically, if you think the post office is on the way out, so too seems to be Royal Mail. This one killed by Rachel Reeves, the other one killed by Horizon and Paula Venables. What's the difference between them? The Royal Mail is reeling under this national insurance increase, with contributions rising to 15% from April 2025. For a workforce as vast as Royal Mail's, the arithmetic is grim. Chief Executive Martin Seidenberg has not minced words, describing this as a massive burden. The immediate impact includes a £134 million write-down on Royal Mail's value, swallowing operating profits and contributing to a £26 million loss for the parent company, International Distribution Services, IDS. Not the same IDS as sits in the House of Commons. Royal Mail argues that the government's measures are particularly uncompetitive given its labour-intensive model compared to rivals who rely on more heavily automated systems. This puts Royal Mail in a bind, forced to raise stamp and parcel prices for the fifth time in under 3 years, while exploring further job cuts as a last resort. Let's talk about stamps. Historically the heart of the Royal Mail service, the price of a first-class stamp has risen to an eye-watering £1.65, far outpacing inflation. Charity groups like Cards for Good Causes warn this will hurt fundraising as sending Christmas cards becomes almost unaffordable. Meanwhile, second-class delivery remains at 85p and barely gets, when things are sent by second class, they barely arrive. But even this may be under review as Royal Mail lobbies to reduce its universal service obligation, which mandates 6 days a week delivery. The rise in stamp prices has triggered broader concerns. Citizens' Advice have accused Royal Mail of using these hikes to mask operational failures. Citing repeated missed delivery targets, one wonders whether Royal Mail's insistence on maintaining universal service standards is at odds with its financial realities. Facing financial constraints, Royal Mail is accelerating automation, particularly in parcel sorting. This shift reflects the broader trend towards e-commerce, but raises concerns about job security. While Seidenberg insists layoffs would be a last resort, history suggests automation rarely spares jobs in labour-intensive industries. Adding intrigue to Royal Mail's challenges is its impending £3.6 billion takeover by Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky. This deal, currently under government scrutiny, has sparked debate over national security and the symbolic loss of a 500-year-old British institution to foreign ownership. Kretinsky has vowed to restore financial stability by slashing costs, but unions remain wary, fearing further erosion of jobs and services. Unsurprisingly, Royal Mail's relationship with its workers is fraught. The Communication Workers Union has slammed the budget's tax changes, accusing IDS of using the financial strain to justify scaling back services and cutting jobs, and the union argues that Royal Mail could thrive if it refocused on rewarding workers and meeting customer expectations. Yet, Royal Mail faces a dilemma. It must balance reforming the USO, meeting delivery targets, and investing in infrastructure, all while navigating rising costs. This balancing act is made harder by public backlash and the broader economic climate where consumers are already stretched by the cost of living crisis. I worked for Royal Mail once. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed sorting in the middle of the night. I enjoyed cleaning the floors. I enjoyed going out on delivery. Royal Mail's plight offers a cautionary tale about the tension between privatised public services and governmental policy. On the one hand, The National Insurance increase is part of a broader fiscal reform aimed at balancing the UK's books. On the other, it exacerbates the financial strain on an essential service already grappling with inefficiency, industrial unrest and technological disruption. I don't think the Royal Mail surprise and complaint and whinge will be the last surprise, complaint, whinge of the big industries in Britain. Royal Mail's situation feels like a microcosm of the challenges facing many legacy institutions in this modern British economy, navigating rising costs, technological shifts and evolving public expectations. Public expectations, we simply expect a mail service to deliver. If it doesn't do that, it's useless. Full stop. When I send a letter, I expect it to arrive. When I receive a letter, I don't expect it to be received 3 weeks or 4 weeks after the date when it was sent. Unfortunately, that is sadly the case. A lot of the stuff that arrives through my front door is rubbish, and that seems to be prioritized over the important letters which often arrive late. How do we explain that? I've said a few times about how I received a letter explaining that a good friend had died and that her funeral was to be on such and such a day at 11 o'clock. I received it at 11 o'clock on that day. The letter had been sent at least a week earlier by first class. And you have to ask, what is the responsibility of Royal Mail? To deliver its letters. I protested. I called Royal Mail. What I got was a pathetic, patronising excuse that that Royal Mail was short of staff in my area. What is the point of that? If it can't do its job, what is the point of the Royal Mail? Its ability to adapt, whether through automation, price adjustments or structural reforms, will determine whether it remains a cherished national service or a case study in decline that either needs to be replaced or jettisoned. I don't know how a modern country survives without a national post service. Are we all going to be portioned off to variations on Amazon? I tried to contact Amazon this morning. It was hopeless. Somehow, Amazon seems to have got into my system. My computer is no longer doing what it was doing this morning. I feel I've been scammed. And yet there's nobody to talk to. As we await the government's decision on Kretensky's takeover and Ofcom's ruling on Saturday deliveries, the stakes for Royal Mail, its workers and its customers couldn't really be higher, could they? The question is, do we care?